A very good afternoon to all our viewers today. It's good to see you. How are you doing? I know you have been queuing for fuel, those who have cars, motorbikes, and this has been trending for some time. Today we'd like to speak about fuel shortage. No, it's not about fuel shortage. We'd like to speak about whether we have a land shortage in the country. In the real estate sector, we have been here for some time and we have a lot of experiences. And we're asking ourselves, the way we have fuel shortage, of course, occasioned by global factors, local factors, is there a time when we might have real estate or land shortage in the country? Land is an emotive issue in the country, all of you know that. Maybe most likely that's why we usually have political upheavals, especially during elections. Land is an important resource. Everything that we do rests on land. We have so many people who have invested in land. So many, you have thousands of customers ourselves in the country. Let's talk about this. This is Real Estate in Kenya with Reuben Kimani. We bring these topics to you about the industry, about investment, to be able to educate you to make better investment decisions. Every time you want to buy land, to buy a house, to buy real estate, to build a home, which are factors that you should consider. Of course, fuel shortage has been trending for the last 1 week or so in the country. People have been seen queuing in petrol stations all across the country, of course looking for fuel. I have a friend who told me they went to so many petrol stations, more than 30 going round. In some counties I hear there are so many places without fuel. Of course, this is a shortage that have been occasioned. I also saw a video in the morning of another country which I will not mention today, experiencing the same problem. So have you been affected by fuel shortage yourself? Most likely you are, wherever you are. Even if you don't own a vehicle, a car, a motorbike, most likely the fares might be increased and this might affect you. This might also affect other factors of production. Let me tell you, fuel affects so many things. You may not see it. We had a discussion in the morning with somebody else talking about the unseen effect of increases in fuel prices. It might be seen in our food because the food has to be transported. We import some of the commodities from all over the world. If the fuel increases, the transport increases, the cost will also increase. That will eat into your budget and your capability to be able to invest, to buy many things. It's good to understand that. But let's not discuss about fuel. Discuss about shortage. Shortage of land. Do we have shortage of land? The answer is no. How you look at it. One of the things about, I think, 2013 elections, they were asking about the land, and I remember one of the candidates commenting or responding that 67% of the land in the country is unadjudicated. They are not being shared out. This land, of course, belongs to the government. So if you are to ask me, we don't have land shortage. Even in the world, we have big masses of property. If you move from Nairobi all the way to Mombasa, you see tracts and tracts of land. But as I said, it is a yes and no. A yes because a no because you can see large tracts of property. If you go to northeastern, you go to Mombasa, in some places, if you go to Narok, you see tracts and tracts of land, and you're wondering who owns these parcels of land. It is a yes because not all land is usable. Not all land is in the hands of the people who want to develop it. There are many challenges in our land sector. People have been talking about land reforms. Every administration since independence, even at the moment, there are many people suggesting laws to be able to manage land in the country. It tells you how emotive it is. We in the land sector, of course, we provide investment opportunities, especially to the young population in the country, as young as 40 years. We also ensure that you have a place you can call home. We can ask ourselves a few questions. Number one, are there areas in Kenya today experiencing land shortage? Number 2, what can cause land shortage in Kenya? Number 3, is there a time we shall have serious land scarcity? Number 4, should we expect long queues or you queuing for long hours for land? Of course, the answer is no, we can't queue for land, but there is also another queue that I'm going to explain way later. How do we ensure, number 5, that land shortage in Kenya does not affect you as we conclude in this discussion? Of course, you can tell us down there whether your answer to the questions I've asked. Have you experienced fuel shortage? Number 2, do you think there is a land shortage in the country? Shortage is basically deficiency, of course, lack of scarcity. You go somewhere, maybe you go, for example, let's talk about Kiambu Road. You are looking for a plot to build for your own home and you can't find any. Of course, you will find, but is the price comfortable? Is the price affordable for you? Of course, yes. Of course, no, for most people. If I put a property out there in Westlands, going for half an acre, going for like 300 million, is it affordable for you as much as you find that plot? A friend told me one day that land will always be there. The problem is the cost of that land. Will you be able to afford? If you go to Upper Hill today, you still find parcels of property which you can be able to purchase. If you go to Karen today or Runda, you still find half an acre where you can build your own your home for your family. But the question is, can you be able to afford it? So the land is there. The question is, can you be able to afford it? Those are some of the things. But do you think there is land shortage in Kenya? Continue telling us, and if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, please do so that we keep educating, sharing this content. You can also comment and tell us and share with other people as well. What causes land scarcity? As we answer these questions, I'll give you 4 reasons. Number 1 is because of population pressure. If you look at Europe, US, and other developed nations, you'll find that they have sorted their housing problems for many years. You'll find that almost everyone has a place they can call home. Almost everyone. But is it the same? We have a 2 million houses accumulated shortage over the years in the country. If you pick 10 of your friends, how many of them have their own homes? Of course, the answer might be 10%. 20% goes too much. We are adding to our population 1 million people every year. We are at 47 million at the moment, maybe 48 since the last census. We are adding 1 million people every year. Out of these 1 million people, half of them end up in our urban centers. This is Nakuru, Nairobi, Kisumu, and many other places. They come to Nairobi either as students, others may migrate to look for work for their family, put bread on the table. These have 1 million people per year. Where are they going to stay? Do you think Kiambu Road is enough? The answer is no. Is Gong Road enough? The answer is no. Waiyaki here. Is it enough? Of course, the answer is no. We continuously have to look for places where these people can settle. And that's the pressure I'm talking about, the population and urbanization pressure. That's why we have scarcity. And when I say the answer is yes, it's because not all land is usable if you want to build your own home. You may not work in Nairobi and maybe live in Narok. It is not possible. You have to live in Narok Center. If you want to live in Nairobi and work in Narok, of course there will be challenges, transport challenges and many other things. The point is, that particular piece of property or land that you need to use, it might be scarce. And that is the reality in our country. Most people want to live in certain places. You exert pressure. There are so many people who want to look for plots to build in Thika Road at the moment. But if you go there, you have to pay a premium for that piece of property. But if you go further to Marwa and other places, the value decreases. So there is always scarcity for what you need. Scarcity for landmen for building our own homes, scarcity for landmen for commercial development, the scarcity there. Maybe there is no scarcity for some pieces of property that are meant for particular reason. If you look at Kenya, for example, we have a lot of arable land. But if you can't compare to Uganda, by the way, and Tanzania here. Our percentage of arable piece of land is way smaller. So this population pressure. Number two, social inequality. That's another thing, and that's why people have been speaking, every leader has been speaking about changing, doing land reforms in this country. There was a law in 2015 that was being passed about the maximum and the minimum piece of land one can own. And of course, it did not see the light of day because it's an emotive issue. There are people who own thousands and thousands of acres of land. There are others who own very small pieces. That's what social inequality is all about. So as you go to Mombasa Road, for example, as you go to some places in the up country, you might find thousands of acres owned by a few companies or a few individuals, when majority maybe live in lower grade estates. So that is one of the reasons why you might have land scarcity. There might be a land policy to balance between business, between how much you can own and how little maybe you can own, so that it is economically viable. You may not be able to farm on an eighth of an acre. The kind of business we do, we focus on those residential areas near the cities where people can build. You may not go interior for agricultural purposes. No, that land is meant for agriculture. We focus on residential kind of land ourselves. So you might find places where people own thousands of acres, maybe denying other the possibility of the opportunity to own those pieces, maybe in smaller, and use them. So that's a challenge in our country. It's something that is every government really tries to address. At some point, maybe you'll be able to address it to a larger extent. Number three is change of use of land. Let me give you an example of Kiambu Road. If you go to Kiambu Road, everywhere, that line where people are living, Kiambu is so near the city. Same for Kajiado and Machakos County. That's why it's called Nairobi Bedroom. If you go there and change the land use from residential or commercial to agricultural, for example, I've seen proposals to that effect, which I will say I would oppose. Because where are these people going to live? Are they going to live in Kibera, for example, in slums? In Mathare, for example? No, no, no. You must provide and do urban planning to take care of the current reality. The planning that was done in 1970s is not sufficient. Our population has increased. So we must factor, and I can see there's a time they were mapping. The government was mapping the metropolitan area all the way to Loitoktok, all the way to almost all the way to Naivasha and other places. These are places where Kenyans can build their own homes. So if you go to Kiambu Road and say, we have to convert this land because it's arable to agricultural use, what do you do to people who want to build their own homes? Where are they going to stay? The point is, we have to plan properly and decide where are people going to live and where are they not going to live. So one of the reasons why you might have scarcity is because of change of land use. The last thing is the environmental factor. There are places which are not habitable because of environmental factors. You may have a dam that is supplying water to the country. You may have a big swamp, and then it is not viable for residential places. I'm wondering how many places are like that in the country where they are completely uninhabitable. So you might find that some countries or some places, because of the nature of land, there people may not be able to comfortably settle. But that is not a big issue in our country, but that can cause land scarcity in some places. Another good example is global warming, lack of water in some places. You might find that I had some place where boreholes were drying. It might become a least attractive place for people to live if that is happening. Availability of key resources like water, for example. The question is, are there areas in Kenya experiencing land scarcity? Of course, yes, I've answered that question. Places where people want to live, let me focus on residential, because every person, the desire of every person is to have a home for their own family. believe that to be true. Of course, you'll come, get a job, start a small business, start earning. You look for mortgages, join circles, save money, pool together. People are doing these all manner of things, all manner of efforts to be able to raise money to build their own homes. Where are they going? And that's why username exists. We are here to provide the current and upcoming generation with a place they can call home. So we provide those opportunities. They'll go to Thika Road, they'll go to Ngong area, they'll go to Kangudo Road, some will go to Mombasa Road and many other places, as long as those places have amenities and they are within reach. They can commute in the morning and go back in the evening. I know people are working from home, but you still need a place with all the amenities. So those places I've mentioned with the amenities, with the infrastructure, their commute distance to where you keep, like where you work, for example, near your church, near many things. Those are some of the things people consider. Those pieces of properties with those criteria, they are very rare and there's a lot of scarcity in them. If you go to Thika Road, for example, to Roiro, you'll buy an eighth of an acre for 5 million because of demand for it. But the same eighth of an acre, if you go to Garissa Road, all the way to, say, Matu or there, will sell you for like 500,000 or 400,000. It is because of demand for certain places. So we have demand. There's a certain time I went to Kisii, for example, it's quite densely populated, and some places in central Kenya, very densely populated. So there's demand for certain places, and that's why we have scarcity. Any place where you find usable land, especially for residential purposes, there's a lot of competition. Any place where you find usable land for agricultural purpose, you receive good rainfall, sunlight, and many other factors, that land will be expensive. And those places, especially for residential, if you come to Westlands today, you'll still find land, but it is extremely expensive. Scarcity becomes not because of land being unavailable. It comes because of the unaffordable nature and the demand for those places. So most people, you still find land in Karen, but it is extremely expensive. So should we expect to queue for long hours for land in future? Of course, the answer is yes. People will normally settle in places where there's infrastructure, there's amenities, there's a community, and there's also economic activities. You can't just settle somewhere where there's no those factors. So those areas where those factors are present, there are not so many in the country. I see the government has been expanding the country road infrastructure. We have the Western Bypass. I passed there the other day. We have the expressway that is being opened, I think, next month, and many other places will come. We have a dual carriage all the way to Machakos. We have, it's my business to know by there because you're in this business of providing home opportunities. There's also this super high going all the way to the Muru. I heard they want to build dual carriage all the way to Nakuru. I hope it come to fruition. What these roads do, there's another one from Gong all the way to Suswa, and it is built. That's why you have many. What these roads do, they open up other areas and they slow. If you had a lot of demand in Roiro, for example, and a new road has been opened, which is almost an equal distance, you'll find other people going there, getting property at half the price. If you go to Ngong, for example, where you have sold so many properties, that is exactly what has been happening over the years. We realized at 30-40 kilometers from CBD, same distance with Rongai, Kitengela is even further, Thika is even further, and at a price of 200,000 sometimes in 2017, it was way affordable for most of you. We knew tarmac could come and it has been done. The properties are still affordable because they are going for like 600,000, 700, 800, but an equivalent distance in the city where you find all these amenities, the same is going for 3 million. So you can take advantage of those opportunities. If you find a new tarmac, that presents a new opportunity for other people to come and settle there, come and invest their money there. So what I'm saying, follow these leads about infrastructure, and it comes with amenities. the electricity, the last mile projects that have been done by government, and it has affected because there are projects which did not have electricity, but now they do have. So what I'm trying to say is that at some point, those areas will also fill up where you have infrastructure, and the demand for the right property for you will still be high. No one will buy barren land with no amenities. Maybe there is no rainfall for agriculture just for the sake, unless you are doing mining, and there must be minerals underground. So for those pieces of properties that I need, that can give value, those pieces of properties that can be used for agriculture, investment, and majorly housing, those pieces of properties will always be scarce. How do you ensure scarcity does not affect you? As I conclude, I only mention two things. Number one, you have to invest with a futuristic approach. For any investment, including stocks, you have to play the long game for you to win. Most of these people who are billionaires, people who have invested heavily and they have succeeded, they do it for the long run. This is the approach I need you to take so that you are not affected by future land scarcity in the country. So you have to go to places where, with a future in mind, you have to look at the infrastructure, you have to look at government plans where budget has been allocated, where cities are coming, universities are coming, Vision 2030, all those factors. And you have to be someone who continuously look for information for you to understand this. The reason we are taking people to Ngong is because this is a corridor, they are transport corridor. The distance is perfect if you have to build your own, and so many customers have built their own homes there at almost a quarter of the cost if you are to go to an equivalent distance in other parts of the city. That's a big cost saving, and the area is so perfect. By the time people know the truth, there'll be a lot of demand there. So you have to invest with future in mind. The number two, don't be afraid to start small, because this is one of the quotes I really like. It says, most people are afraid to start because they don't want to be seen starting very small. Most people want to start big. You want to buy that property worth $1 million, $5 million, $3 million, $10 million. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to start with the properties that are going for way low. Because do you know what? Places that you would have bought, places that you want to buy now, you not even have looked at or considered them, even for once, 5 years ago. That's how land works. Number two, places that will be very expensive 5 years to come are places most of you don't want to consider right now. And those are places where username keep looking for. In Ngong, for example, we were selling an eighth of an acre then. These are residential plots. 449,000, the same is going for 800,000 because of tarmac, SGR. People are building their own homes, and the demand I'm talking about has been rising by the day. So now, two things: invest with the future in mind. You have to look at those factors like where are people going, infrastructure, universities, cities like Konza, for example. Number two, don't be afraid to start small. That's where most of our parents started when they invested in South B, South C, Kasarani, and many other places, but they seem so wise today because they started small. In conclusion, land scarcity is real. Land scarcity, and I have to specify again, land scarcity for usable land. It is real. You may end up buying where you never wished to buy, of course, due to lack of options and your budget limit. Other areas will keep coming up, and it is your time to take them up so that you grow. So don't be afraid to start small, to invest more, to consider places, go for site visits. Even if you are not buying, you'll find so many other people who can educate you, and you wonder, why am I the only person who is not excited about this property? Maybe because of distance, because of the way the property looks, the gazelles, the antelopes, and many other things, the distant nature, remote nature. It might be remote now, but as long as you can see this infrastructure coming, developments, it is not remote. So you can consider those factors. Thank you so much for watching us live today. Please share this. Tell us if you have experienced any shortage in fuel and if you think we'll have a shortage of land in the country. My name is Reuben Kimani once again. Thank you so much for watching. Please like our page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also follow us on Instagram, username investment. I'm glad to have you today. Have a nice lunch, have a nice afternoon, and God bless you.